Hi, this is Rachel from the Shades of Orange today to review and recommend a book that I absolutely loved, and that is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is a case of the right book at the right time. I was in the mood to pick up an epic, chunky space opera, and a lot of people told me that this was the book to pick up, and it was a perfect recommendation because I absolutely loved it. I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads, and it has definitely earned a place on my favorite shelf. I loved it so much, I've actually gone out and purchased the rest of the published books, which is something I never do, but I just know I'm going to love the entire series, which is called The Expanse, and I just need to gush about this. So if you don't know what this book is about, it's set in a future in our own world. The idea is that humans have moved on past Earth. We've moved on to different planets in our solar system. And there's basically a couple different cultures. There's the people that still live on Earth that have a kind of an elitist culture because they are the Earthlings. There's the Martians that have dealt with the harsh conditions of that planet and to compensate are very technologically advanced. And then there's the people on the asteroid belts known as the Belters that are essentially the underprivileged working force of the solar system. Now this book follows 2 different perspectives, the first being Miller, who is a security officer working on a space station in the belt, and he is assigned to track down the daughter of this rich couple. And it basically starts this investigation, a bit of a mystery and detective story about what happened to this girl who has gone missing. And the other perspective is Holden, who works on an ice hauler. And on his story, it starts out with them finding the ship that is abandoned and investigating what happened to it. And I really don't want to say more to the synopsis because it's kind of a story you have to experience for yourself. But just know that these 2 stories become intertwined and you start to figure out what is actually going on, and you realize that the story takes on some epic magnification of what is happening once the story and the mystery starts to be unraveled. It was so gripping, so engaging. It's a very fast-paced read with the changing perspectives. The chapters are quite short, about 10 pages each. I was constantly flipping back and forth. The authors really leave you hanging on each chapter, so you just want to know what's going to happen next. And despite the chunky length of this one, I blew through it really quick. I found myself picking it up every time I had a few spare minutes to read. It was just such an engaging story. I would say that this is a great place to start if you're newer to science fiction and are a little bit intimidated by the genre. I found the world building to be particularly easy to understand. While it's set in the future, this isn't hard science fiction, so it doesn't focus so much on the details of the technology, but as long as you use common sense, you can understand the world as it is set up. And I really appreciate that. The writing is good, but definitely straightforward. It's not clunky or overly descriptive, and I just found it really easy to read. The story does have some gritty and harsher elements to it, which I really appreciate. I like a book that's willing to go there and kind of punch up the story and give the reader a little bit of a shock or a bit of an adrenaline rush at times. This book, while it is science fiction, does, as I mentioned, have elements of a mystery story as well as elements of horror, and I do appreciate it as a crossover. I think that makes it a lot easier to get into if you're used to reading those other genres. And I just found this book a lot of fun, highly entertaining, action-packed. It reads great as a standalone, but as I mentioned, I'm absolutely going to continue on with the rest of the series. I'm now a huge fan of Orbit as a publisher, and I cannot wait to read more of their books because they seem to be right up my alley, the kind of science fiction which is fun and full of adventure that I'm looking to read. So if you have any recommendations for read-alikes similar to Leviathan Wakes, I would definitely love to know and pick them up. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment and I'd be happy to tell you more about the book. Thanks so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon. Okay, bye.